Oh my god. I did
Peyton, you
not
should
read
have
that.
just been patient.
I should have been patient.
In 2018, Sony Pictures released Venom, which was panned by critics yet praised by audiences. It had nothing to do with Spider-Man. With the success, Sony ran it all to the ground with sequels, a living vampire, and Amazonian spider societies. Now, in 2024, three small-time writers pitch movies to try and fix this tangled web of a franchise. I'm Jarrett.
I'm Peyton.
I'm Noah. And this is...
Has to do with Spider-Man, I think?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Has to Do with Spider-Man, I think. It's great to be back for the second episode. Fourth recorded, but second episode to be posted on Spotify or your listening platform of choice. Be sure to give us 5 stars. My name is Jarrett.
I'm Peyton.
And I'm Noah.
And today we will be bringing you the first of 3 pitches in this first round of go-arounds here today. What?
Hold up.
You said hold up.
In between the last 3 recordings, which will be coming out other times, Venom 3 trailer has dropped.
It did. And I'm not going to lie to you, it looks good. It has the potential, just because of the vibes it's given off, to be my favorite of the trilogy, just because I like the vibes it's given off way more than the first 2 did.
It's got some wacko stuff.
It also has the
Venom
potential
horse.
to derail everything.
The Venom horse was one of the coolest designs that we have seen in this entire trilogy so far.
It truly was. This has the potential to derail everything as well. So we're coming at this with a grain of salt. We're hopeful that it won't, but we will see. We'll see.
We decided to do this whole series under the assumption that it would not be immediately destroyed by the next movie.
Which it might be.
Would you say that entire methodology is flawed to begin with? You might.
Would you say that we should have waited until they officially stopped the live action films before we even considered this as a project?
No,
You might.
we're getting the
Maybe.
voice.
But here we are nevertheless to give you the first of my pitches, and I believe we got something special here folks, but that's just me talking. I know you two are pretty excited.
Oh, I'm hyped.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm thinking we're excited. It's 10:30 at night here my time, so we gonna be a little bit out of it.
I've been looking forward to the Stiltman pitch for ages now.
The Stiltman pitch?
Yeah. That's what we're here for, right?
We here for Doctor Octopus, my guy.
I'm leaving the
Well, now I'm just disappointed. I mean, I guess we can do Doc Ock.
Fine. Yeah, sure.
I think y'all will like this. In our intro episode, I described this as this universe's Joker.
There's 2 ways you can go about this universe's Joker. One of them could be pretty solid. The other one is a bit ooh.
And the reason I say that is because Joker came out in a time during the DCU or DCEU, I don't know, where they were kind of in flux, had no clue what they were doing or where they were going forward. And they were doing a lot of just kind of spin-off, one-off, standalone titles. And Joker was kind of one of their surprise hits, I guess you could say. It made way more than they were expecting, I think. It crossed $1 billion. And it was kind of art housey and riffed off of a lot of classic Oscar winner films at the time. And while I won't say that this rips off a lot of classic Oscar winners, this is certainly the art housey psychological thriller vibe that would totally throw off anybody who thinks they know what to expect from this universe and potentially put more eyes on it going forward.
Nice. I'm in society. Can you tell us a little bit? This was something that, viewers, listeners, however you want to phrase yourself, in later episodes you're going to realize there's some things that, funnily enough, because we're new to this, we get better at doing. I want to know, Jarrett, what your sort of process was going in, like, besides thinking about this, how was your process writing this? Were you, like, kind of struggling with it? Were you kind of trying to figure it out? Like, was there any sort of bumps in the road, or do you want to cover that kind of near the end of the podcast? Because, like,
No, I can cover it now.
okay.
Because it's no secret to you, Peyton, that the last piece of Act 3 and both credit sequences were written in call, waiting for the third member of this call to join. So some of this was down to the wire.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I can feel it.
that is only because I plan when I write a story, I plan everything out in my head fairly extensively, or as much of it as I can. But then I have so much to write and so little already on the page that it's kind of daunting. And so
Mhm.
what I found was my lifeline in this situation was a speech to text app.
Nice.
So during my lunch breaks at work, I would just kind of rant about the plot of this movie in between bites of a ham sandwich, and then proceed to copy and paste that into a Google Doc and format it properly into a script and edit out portions where I repeated myself.
What is the composition of your ham sandwich?
As in, like, ratio of ham and
Okay,
other materials, or what do you mean?
ham and other materials, but also, like, what kind of bread do you use? Like I want to get further into the mindset of Jarrett at the time of writing this or speech to texting it.
Gotta be
Oh,
white bread.
no.
Doesn't matter the brand, gotta be white bread.
Ooh, I mean,
Can't
Well,
stand anything other than white bread.
we're certainly stepping this off on a very controversial note. Personally, I go with sourdough.
oh man, one
But
time when
then
I
we
went
just go with the simple ham and cheese. Sometimes we throw in
right,
a little lettuce and tomato there, be a little spicy, be a little
Simple ham and
extra.
cheese. It has to be sourdough. It has its own taste to it.
yeah,
It fries up very nicely. You can get a crisp on the sourdough that you cannot get with white bread.
That
And
is
with
true.
sourdough, there is also more surface area that doesn't get soggy when you put lubrication on it, such as
run that back.
mayo
Bruh
or
here
butter
lubricating his bread.
or things of that sort. Which, when compounded with the frying agents on, you could either use oil I prefer oil with cast iron, and it's great with the thickness to be able to take the
Yeah.
heat while also not burning anything inside of the sandwich. So you can get really nice meltage on cheese,
Okay.
really good heat, and even some sear sometimes on some meat if you know what you're going for with that. If you do the frying up at the same time in the sandwich, or you could do the open face style with one slice on either side of the skillet, and then put them together on the plate. Either way, sourdough's the way to go.
Sounds like we found Noah's kink and its sandwich geometry.
I live for it.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Okay.
My doctor told me that because I have acid reflux, I just need to have whole wheat bread. So
And so
I love this segue.
you get the three sides of the coin.
do we want to get started on the story?
I think this is the best segue we're gonna get.
I can't stop laughing.
Jarrett, what sandwich style does Doc Ock prefer?
Yeah, what is Doc Ock like?
Well, you'll find something that Doc Ock is very particular about.
No way.
Fairly early on in this pitch, and we'll describe it when we get to it. Okay.
Oh my god! Yay!
So
Sandwich.
submit it for the approval of the two of you and not Sony's board, because we don't care about them. I'm presenting to you Doctor Octopus. Cold open. As the Sony logo fades, we notice the In Association with Marvel logo is blue, not red. Instead of flipping comic pages in the background, it's replaced by the distant sound of thunder. It's quiet, then a crack of lightning cuts the screen to black. We open on a child's room. Boy is cowering under the covers with the lights off. The blue light from the storm outside cascades through the window, hitting the wall above. His father is yelling in the background to his mother.
You mean he let that punk Brad beat the shit out of him again?
The sound of heavy footsteps that slowly gets louder. Boy's mother pleads for him to stop before the door suddenly swings open, slamming into the wall. Lightning strikes again, louder.
Stand up!
Boy is clearly frightened, but slowly stands. His face is blank, tears rolling down his face like a river. Maybe if he'd been more careful, none of this would have ever happened.
What did I tell you about that shit? You know better. The hell have I been telling you, boy?
He slaps him across the face. The boy whimpers but says nothing.
And stop crying. I ain't raised no daughter. No son of mine is gonna live his life being pushed around and taken advantage of. Grow a pair and defend yourself.
Another slap across the boy's face, sending him to the floor. Train can be heard in the distance rolling across the station.
You need to be better. If you don't stand up for yourself, this world will take everything from you and cast you aside. Do you want that?
No, father.
I can't hear you.
The boy's father rears back to hit him again, and at the point of impact, thunder cracks, cutting to a grown man waking panicked in his bed. This man is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, but he is borderline unrecognizable. He is in intense makeup, showing he is an overweight man with a round head and a bowl cut to match. Clutches his chest as his labored breathing eventually slows. He's in a cold sweat. He quickly turns to fumble for his big round glasses on the mantel and stands. He gets out of bed and walks to the kitchen, our real title appearing as he passes by the hallway. Otto.
Oh, shit. Ooh. Oh, shit.
Now I like that.
Okay.
So it's one of those like fade titles where it's like we see a side view of the hallway, and as he walks by and passes, like parts of the hallway have the letters across it. So it's as he walks, O-T-T-O.
Okay.
That spells auto.
It does. And that's the title of our movie.
And it spells auto backwards.
It does. You could be kind of cool with it and be like, okay, he's walking. So like the first letter we see is the back is like the second O. And so it reads from left to right as he walks from right to left the same way. Just kind of a neat visual thing.
Interesting.
It's a much nicer home than the one we have seen in the first scene, a luxury uptown apartment in New York. Otto has clearly done much for himself since the dream. He begins to fumble through a large box in the corner, eventually pulling out a record. He puts it down on the player next to it, carefully dropping the needle and turning up the volume. It's Nocturne Opera 9, No. 2, by Chopin. He quietly moves toward a cabinet and passes over several bags of various coffee beans like he's poring over his favorite section at a library. He finally picks one and moves to an espresso machine. It's one of those super expensive, highly involved ones where you spritz the beans with water, hand grind them, lightly sift them with a pronged fork, aerate them with a circular spiked press it flat with another press, and place it back under the machine to get maybe 4 sips of coffee. Every detail is done exactly to perfection, no room for faults or errors. He is a highly particular and intensely detail-oriented person, down to the most minute processes. Calmly opens the curtain to his apartment and watches the sun rise as he takes a sip of his coffee. It is perfect. That's our cold open.
I like it a lot. So what I really enjoy with this is, first of all, that sort of opening scene kind of sets up something of, to me, that I'm seeing, or the vibe that I'm getting is that Otto has regularly had people in power that have like used him in terms of like an abusive method, like at least with his father in the case, and like this sort of thing of like always being beaten down or being hurt. I know that kind of takes inspiration from wasn't there like a Doc Ock Year One or something?
There is a comic book that I read titled Doctor Octopus Year One that some pieces will take serious inspiration from and others we will stray from pretty heavily.
Okay.
Also, by the way, I have posted the link to Chopin's Nocturne Opera 9, No. 2.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So this is
I heard
playing.
that first keynote.
So this is playing in the background of a very extensive, prolonged scene of him doing every detail of getting this espresso coffee exactly right.
It's very. It reminds me of when You've seen the Daredevil show, Netflix Daredevil, where Kingpin
Yep.
is that's what that kind of that reminds me of that.
And it's supposed to be very similar feeling.
Also gives me American Psycho vibes.
Yeah.
It's important to recognize that like Kingpin is very Kingpin's the point of that scene is that he has a set routine that he abides to on the dot to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to come across in this scene is that because throughout this scene he's basically hyperventilating, he's having a panic attack. But this process of the calming music and the slow process of being meticulous with the beans, the water, the spray, the sifting, getting everything just perfect is what is able to calm him down.
Dope.
So this is basically like a process for him in order to be able to put his emotions in check and control them when he is in the middle of an attack.
Totally off topic, but I thought about getting into coffee as a hobby. Like, moment I graduated university, I thought like I need to adopt a hobby, and like I have comic books that I collect, and I thought about getting into coffee, but I know that like my ass would do all this, right? I would I would spray
Get all
the
the way
beans,
fully into it.
I would get all the way fully into it, and then by the end of it, I would just fuck it up by putting like some shitty creamer that tastes like Reese's Pieces in there.
Get you a man who loves his coffee as much as I love my sandwiches.
Yes. Yes.
Funnily enough, this scene was inspired by a YouTube short, very similar. It wasn't the same piece, but it was exactly what I described to a T. You didn't see anybody doing anything. Like they made a point to never even show his hands moving, but you just saw the pieces moving. The water spraying, the beans, everything so minute and detailed with just music. And it's one of those very professionally edited ones that you rarely see on like TikTok or YouTube. So I was like, this is Otto to a T.
Yeah. That's kind of dope. I like that.
No, it's Otto to a coffee.
I will hurt you. Rest of Act 1. Part of this, I also just repeat myself. I'm going to use this time to make it clear the events in the dream do represent real events, and this has given him kind of a complex. He has this intense desire to do everything perfectly. He did not learn the you have to stand for up for yourself lesson. He learned I have to be perfect at everything because otherwise problems come after.
I get it.
If I did that differently, maybe my father wouldn't have been so mad. So he's developed this perfectionist complex, and he has to be involved with everything if he wants it done right.
Reminds me of work.
Let's not get into that.
Let's not get into that.
So Otto sips his coffee, and we see he gets a text from a woman named Anna Maria Marconi saying, "Good morning, my love." Kissy emoji. And we see Otto give a kind and genuine smile. This is the first time we've seen him smile since he woke up. She says, again, exciting day at work today. Hope everything goes well. Prayer. Like little pray hands. We find out that this is because there's a meeting being planned early in the morning as soon as he gets to work. We cut to watching him take a short walk to his office, which is a mid-tower office revealed to be Oscorp. As we watch him put on his lab coat, we see the logo on his coat. Found out that he is involved with completing a particle collider on behalf of Oscorp, one very similar to the one we see in Into the Spider-Verse, albeit much smaller. He's been involved with taking energy readings and ensuring they don't reach a critical overload, but Norman has asked to speak with him directly, which is very unusual, not very common for their department. Otto is initially worried that he might be losing his job if he was speaking with the man at the top, but Anna Maria insisted he can't just assume the worst. He tries to listen, but we see he is still very nervous when he walks into Norman Osborn's office at the top of Oscorp Tower. Norman Osborn will be played in this universe by Glenn Howerton.
Such a solid call out.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, baby, and also Blackberry. He is so good in Blackberry.
And we've talked about.
I've only seen him in Always Sunny, but there's a few scenes in that show where he is just malevolent.
And so, what Peyton and I have discussed a little bit about how we want this character to work is that Glenn Howerton is going to straight up play this nice, pleasant businessman on the surface who's kind to all of his employees and generally seems to be a very nice person. He gets along with the media. Nobody really has any issues with him. But sometimes secretly, sometimes very obviously, he is this evil and sadistic man, very similar to the character he plays in It's Always Sunny. So there are certain situations that will bring that energy out of him, but you have to kind of dig a couple layers under in order for that to kind of come out. Anyway, so Glenn Osborne reveals that the old guy in charge of Otto's department is out, and Norman wants to promote Otto Octavius as the next head of the project.
Mr. Osborne, I'm flattered, but you know I've only been involved with taking measurements and readings to this point, right? But you want me to take over?
There's been an extensive review process of everybody's background experience and their qualifications. Frankly, too long, because I knew who I wanted in charge the moment your manager left. I've watched your work. You might not believe so, but I keep close eyes on everyone that works on my collider. I think you're the one who can truly push this forward and help us succeed.
Norman stands from his desk and walks to the view out of his window. At no point during this conversation has Norman looked up to make eye contact with Otto whatsoever.
I see the steps you take to make everything perfect, and that's exactly what we need with this if we're going to get it right. This collider holds the key to understanding the fabric of how everything in this universe works, and from there, who knows what else? We could have 100% renewable energy cracked in a few years, and you would be the reason for that.
During this, he has slowly made his way over to Otto while he talks, and now he makes direct eye contact and places a firm hand on Otto's shoulder.
You want to get it right, don't you? To be the one responsible for changing the world?
Yes, sir, Mr. Osborne.
Norman pauses for maybe a second too long with his hand on Otto's shoulder, and then releases it.
Perfect! You start right away. It's my understanding your coworkers have set up a little something to congratulate you. Enjoy it.
Otto thanks him again, turning for the door and opening just a bit.
And Otto?
Yes, Mr. Osborne.
Don't let me down. I hate to have to get rid of you like I did your manager.
An awkward silence follows this. Otto chuckles slightly to himself to break the tension, but Norman doesn't reciprocate. He just stares, blank-faced. Otto quietly closes the door behind him. So, very briefly, what do we think about our first interaction with Norman?
I'm down. I like him a lot. Reading his lines out loud, I could definitely see Glenn Howerton saying this type of stuff, just without the bald cap that he wears in Blackberry.
I freaking love the "Don't let me down. I'd hate to have to get rid of you like I did your manager."
Yeah, just this sort of
just
like smile,
just leaving that dangling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hanging in the air, like whoop, yeah.
So Otto is obviously
like
very excited and maybe a little creeped out, but he's antsy to begin working. However, he kind of has a bit of a harsh conversation with Mendel Strom, played in this universe by Charles Dance.
Charles Dance, loves Charles Dance.
Who is very unhappy that he, the senior scientist in the department, did not receive the promotion. Apparently, he was the other person in the final running to become head of the project, and he starts bad-mouthing Otto to his face, saying he doesn't deserve to have been promoted, etc., etc. Otto, fairly stone-faced in order to prevent his emotions from coming out, responds by basically saying,
"What you've just admitted to me is that Norman doesn't think you're on par with your competition. Sounds to me like Mr. Osborne just knows what I already do. You're not as good as you think you are. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a division to run."
We follow him to an underground facility where the collider is being built and is in various stages of disrepair. His co-workers, including Anna Maria, are all congratulating them, and they have a few snacks and a cake prepared. Otto was clearly the last one to know he was being promoted. However, Otto is now very determined to start working, and after a few polite thank yous, brushes past them and moves to a larger component on the table that they're working on that is faulty. He grabs a pair of welding goggles, the ones we will recognize as being associated with his supervillain costume. Picks up a welder in one hand and another tool in the other, and starts by himself, quickly calling out for other tools as he goes. Everyone awkwardly goes, "Oh, okay." They start handing him tools. It's very clearly a one-man show right now. He's not really having other people help him. Everybody else is kind of a gopher. One coworker takes a few seconds too long to find a certain tool, and Otto politely repeats himself, stating,
"Come now, don't dawdle. I only have but so many hands.
Mm.
Hey, that's funny because there's this character called Doctor Octopus. Um, and Doctor Octopus is called Doctor Octopus because he has like 4 arms like octopus, but it doesn't make
Uh-huh.
that much sense because he only has 6 arms then. So he really should be called like Doctor Septopus or
But what
something.
about his legs?
Those are legs.
That
Okay.
is a scene that was ripped straight out of Doctor Octopus Year One. He's working on, I want to say it's a nuclear reactor because it takes place in the 60s. And he's
Mhm.
basically like in front of a table. He's got like 12 people behind him, holding tools up in the air, waiting for him to say the name of the tool so they can just pass it to him. But it's this full splash page of him with like 6 hands, 6 other people's hands surrounding him, and he's just fully at work.
Interesting.
All of this to say, Otto clearly is burying himself in his work to kind of cope with some kind of stress, and right after he clocks out after work, he basically runs outside and ducks to one side, dropping his glasses and freaking out. We see from his POV where everything is fuzzy as he frantically searches, while we watch as someone picks up his glasses and puts them gently on his face. It's Anna Maria, revealed here as she comes into focus as being played by Meredith Eaton. For those of you who are familiar with Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe, she plays Cassandra Falk in The Bride and Frankenstein. For those unaware, Anna Maria Marconi was a love interest during the Superior Spider-Man comic and is also a little person. Otto here is kneeling down on one knee and is eye level with Anna Maria as she gently puts them back on his face. Something cute can be said here, like she puts his glasses on and he focuses and looks her in the eyes and she says, like, I see you, or there you are.
Oh.
He makes it clear that he really doesn't know if he can do this, and Anna Maria basically follows this up with,
You got this job because you were the best person suited for it. You can't doubt yourself right now. You're one of the smartest men I know. Norman sees it. I see it. Now you've just got to see it too. And remember that we are all here to work together and get this done, okay? You're not alone in this.
they embrace. They head to dinner to celebrate, and Otto admits that he has had another nightmare. She can tell that he's still kind of being bothered by something that he's trying to avoid telling her about, and so he finally relents and admits it. She's a little bit concerned because this is not the first time she's heard about this, but she also is being supportive and asks if he's talked to his therapist this morning about it. He kind of shrugs her off, and she says, You didn't talk to him today, did you? He admits no, he got too excited and was already having a lot of nerves, so he just kind of buried it with his work. She tells him he needs to start going back if they continue. He wakes up the next morning, this is Saturday, so no work, from another nightmare that is very similar. Blue backdrop from the night sky, lightning cracking, red shears of light against the wall. It's all very stylized and art housey. It's the same dream, except this time when his father rears back to hit him again, Boy catches his hand right before it strikes him, and then he wakes up. Distressed by this, he turns over to Anna Maria, who this time is in bed with him after last night. She insists that she is going to go with him this time for emotional support. He's reluctant and insists there's nothing wrong, but they go anyway. The therapist has already been told about the nightmares before, but it's been a while since they've last met. He asks how often they've been occurring now. Otto says it comes and goes, but normally when he's already stressed out, it becomes a little bit longer or pieces get added that aren't real. When asked, Otto explains the new piece to his nightmare. He asks how Otto was feeling in the moment, and all Otto can say is that he felt angry, rageful. He tells him it sounds like he was bottling up a lot of anger and bad feelings about his upbringing, and it's bottlenecking into these dreams since he has no other outlet. It shows growth that he is acknowledging them more frequently, but also that if he doesn't find a method to cope in his daily life, it'll explode in his face and it'll mess up all of his relationships. Work, life, romantic, everything is going to suffer. From this, we're going to do a bit of a time jump and get a sort of montage of him working. There's a lot of progress being made, but not a lot of headway, not a lot of big progress that can actually be marketed or advance Norman's research. But just trying to get everything working right now. In the meantime, we have another scientist named Norton Fester, played by Jeff Daniels, who's Otto's replacement in the field, doing the readings and testing that Otto was initially doing. He is a gigantic dumbass, who clearly doesn't know what he's doing and is just kind of there to fill a spot until Norman can get somebody more qualified. After a short test, a faulty level reading almost causes a very important component to explode, which would cost them months of work to fix. Otto panics, tosses Norton aside, and fixes it himself. This leads to a screaming match between Norton and Otto of essentially accusing Norton of sabotaging the project. Anna Maria and Mendel Strom both move to pull Otto away from Norton, and Norton shoves Otto, which sends Anna Maria to the ground. This snaps Otto out of it, and he rushes to help Anna Maria up. This is, of course, followed up with another meeting with Norman basically going,
I put you in this position because I thought you would be able to handle it, and it doesn't look like you're handling it.
Otto is trying to keep it contained, but it's also very clear that the pressure is getting to him, and he's very concerned with trying to make progress, but it's not coming along as fast as he would have liked. Otto thought that with him in charge, things would go much smoother, but it's just as bad. Maybe marginally better, but not enough to be significant. Norman to this point has been very jovial. He's like,
Hey, at least progress is being made.
but now he's more like,
Look, if we need to get somebody else, we can. I understand that you're struggling.
Otto immediately rejects this out of hand, and after a little bit of pushback, Norman relents.
Good. I'd hate to have to replace you like I did the last guy.
And Otto is kind of like, He said the same thing again.
You know, I never actually asked what happened to my last manager. Did he quit?
No. What? Do you think I did something?
Otto doesn't respond to this, and this time we watch a smile creep onto Norman's face as if he's trying to show that he is joking. It is not pleasant, and his uncanny laughter does not help. Dear God.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, he just received an offer from another company, and he decided to take it. By the way, if you're still on, then I need to see a definitive test in a month's time.
A month.
Otto is shocked by this new deadline that kind of came out of the blue after a really unpleasant joke, but he doesn't object. He just thanks Norman for trusting him and quietly leaves. End of Act 1.
I like this a lot, Jarrett. This is going pretty well.
It feels like the snowballing is very well handled.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that it... Initially, I was concerned that we didn't have a ticking clock at the start, but it's only Act 1, and now he's given him a deadline for something.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a ticking clock over the course of the entire plot, as we'll see at the start of Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of keeps things moving forward. However, we will see how this sort of affects him moving forward.
What I can see is with the during the montage of him like working out and like slowly things are kind of falling apart in a weird way. You already had the classical music call out with the Nocturne.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost see the montage being set to like in the Hall of the Mountain King.
Yeah.
That's yeah. But probably in a more honestly probably in a more like low-key fashion, so it feels less intense all at once, but by the time you notice it playing by, like, the final crescendo with everything going wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're like, "Oh, that's what this piece is."
I
Okay.
could see Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross doing like some sort of soundtrack for this.
Something
But-
slower and more like sinister version of the Mountain King track I would
Yeah.
really like.
But the only reason I say that is because they do in the Hall of the Mountain King for the Social Network, and it's really good.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
that's
like a
cool.
more techno version of it. But anyway,
So we like where this is going so far?
Yes.
I really do. I like Norman. I like Norman a lot. I like the sort of character that you're creating for Norman here, and it's also just good that this universe finally has a Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I kind of really hate with modern comic book films is the idea that one actor can only play a character. Like, oh man, Norman Osborn can only be played by Willem Dafoe. Similarly, Doc Ock has that same problem with
Alfred Molina.
with Alfred Molina. People are always like, "Oh, nobody else could ever play Doc Ock." I mean, obviously, these are just scriptments. These aren't going to be made into real movies. These are just kind of were like fun, but kind of grappling with that idea in a way by picking people like Glenn Howerton can do a sort of goblin face, but he doesn't have a goblin face 24/7. And in a similar way, I mean, Alfred Molina is a really handsome guy, but Jake Gyllenhaal is a really handsome guy in two different ways. Um, and here Gyllenhaal is like put up in a ton of makeup. Like I'm envisioning like sort of the penguin levels of a ton of
Yep.
makeup.
That was a huge
And
inspiration. Was the Penguin's was Colin Farrell's look in the Batman for the Penguin, where it's
yeah,
just he's practically unrecognizable with the amount of makeup and prosthetics he's got on.
and I really like how you're thinking of that. It's really interesting. But yeah, I'm really intrigued with how this story will go, and I'm also happy that you bring in Anna Maria. She is a highlight in the Superior Spider-Man story.
She absolutely is.
I mean, she's just great in a lot of the Superior Spider-Man comics, and then like even afterwards when she kind of becomes this sort of semi-mainstay character in other Spidey books, she's just really interesting.
I will say in the Doctor Octopus Year One comic, there is kind of a love interest. It's very different, and it does not go the way that I'm going to go.
That is not ominous at all.
Good.
Cool beans.
Act 2. Otto and Anna Maria go out to dinner again on another Friday night, and Anna implies that maybe he should consider walking back his promotion and asking to be maybe given a co-lead or to relinquish to somebody who will be able to actually handle the stress. Because she can tell that it's only hindering him and it's making his nightmares worse. Otto is stunned by this and takes it as if she is claiming he can't do it. She insists that she just wants him to be okay, but this sticks with him more than he lets on. He's a little angry, kind of flustered, and he drops his glasses again, and they do the same thing we saw in Act 1. He bends down to pick them up, she grabs them for him, places them on his face, gives him a gentle kiss, says, "I love you." Otto meets with his therapist again the next morning, this time alone. He admits that the recurring nightmare has been daily or nightly since his new job began. His therapist asks if any new fragments have been added since. We flash to the young Otto gripping his father by the throat, his face dripping with anger. The boy unleashes a guttural, vicious scream, and we cut back to Otto all grown up, silent.
No, nothing.
We flash forward a month. We see that they are performing the small demonstration that Norman had spoken about. In the meantime, Otto has developed 2 pairs of mechanical arms to split his workload between both doing his job and reading the levels from a safe distance. The arms are, very important, more thin and spindly than the ones that we've seen in other iterations like Spider-Man 2. They're more like actual octopus tentacles and able to be micro-precise. So they're thin, they kind of stretch for a little longer, and they move very similar to actual octopus tentacles.
Interesting.
This is a very different design. He's essentially trying to do his job and half of Norton's, who is working the other tentacle pair. They're working from behind a blast shield or from a safe distance, working the tentacles with pairs of controls. They attempt a small demonstration, and Norton is unable to be perfectly precise with them and almost causes another accident. I don't go into a lot of detail here, but basically, Otto is so micro-precise with everything he does that he is used to being able to make micro-adjustments with every little thing he's doing. And Norton's just not aware of that, or he's just not familiar with how to be that micro-precise. It's more precise than like human hands. Mm-hmm. So it's next to impossible for him to try and figure out. The experiment fails, this time in front of a small crowd of other scientists, including Norman. Otto is able to wrestle the other pair of controls from Norman and safely return the arms to normal by controlling both pairs at once. So the arms are starting to kind of freak out a little bit because he's basically throwing them around like they're a child's toy. Not really, but enough to where Otto sees it as that.
Mm-hmm. I could kind of see at the beginning of this demonstration scene, if you wanted to have like a sort of reference or throwback, Norton saying the sort of joke of like, if anybody has lost a roll of $20 bills in the parking lot, we found the rubber band. like try to be all cocky and like,
But it would be funny. It would be funny if no one laughs.
yeah, no one laughs.
And then
Like,
Otto just kind of Otto is fuming at this point. He is still insistent that somebody is trying to sabotage him. This time he's accusing Mendel Strom, who had nothing to do with the two people who were doing this, but he is convinced that the guy who has hated on him since day one is somehow involved in making him look bad. Strom immediately protests. He's just flabbergasted, saying he's not fit to be leading. He's clearly the problem here. He's not accurately doing his job, etc., etc. They're going off on one another. Otto is not happy and follows Norman up to his office, demanding that Strom be sent to another department altogether. Norman is not saying a word. He rants and raves before Norman finally cuts him off once they enter his office.
what are you doing wrong?
What?
I said, what are you doing wrong?
I don't know. Everything was in place. Everything should have worked perfectly. Everything should have worked properly. Everything was in accordance with our guidelines.
But what if they weren't?
What are you asking me to do?
I'm asking, what are you prepared to do? What is standing between you and success, and are you willing to push past it in order to get what you want?
Norman, are you asking me to break our safety protocols?
I'm not saying anything. Straussman moved to consciousness replication effective immediately. Good day, Mr. Octavius.
Otto is quiet, confused, and then leaves. He got what he wanted, but he's also a little bit perplexed by what Norman is insinuating. He gets a text from Anna Maria asking if they are still on for dinner tonight. He thinks for a moment and ignores the text. Also, if you didn't catch it, what are you asking me to do? I'm asking what are you prepared to do is an Avengers reference. Anyway, interspersed with shots of Otto breaking into his laboratory after hours, we see flashes of his extended nightmares, which we will now see at its most complete. He makes his way to the lab and finds both pairs of arms. He wires them together with a neural link and attaches them to the back of his neck. He lifts each arm slowly, pulses moving from the middle of his back out to each arm. We hear him say to his therapist that each night more is added to the dream. It's not just longer, it's more violent. We watch Otto start another test as he calculates readings and uses the arms to put volatile pieces together to finally finish what he started, stepping into the containment field to properly get a handle on it. Flashback to the dream, blue and red cascading against the walls as thunder strikes in the background. The heavy rain as we pan across to watch the young Otto tear his father apart with his bare hands. The adult Otto flinches, causing one arm to shake. He loses his grip, and we get a flash of red and blue light in the modern day as Otto is engulfed in the explosion, yelling as we cut again to see the young boy amidst what's left of his father, fully revealing the red shears of light in his dreams to be his father's blood.
Damn.
As he's testing and failing throughout these montages and this other big presentation that failed, his feeling of inadequacy and perfectionist mindset is crushing him over and over and over again, and it's just building this rage that he cannot keep contained. Anna Maria's noticed it, seeing it's based in his own trauma, hoping that if he can come to terms with it, then he can move forward. It's not working. So this anger is building in him, and to the point where if somebody essentially gave him permission to do it on his own, if it meant breaking a few rules in order to get it done, he was willing.
Huh. Okay.
And this rage has built, and the only outlet is his subconscious. And in his subconscious, the more that's added, the full picture is that boy Otto gets rushed by his father, slapped around a bit. He proceeds to grab his father by the throat and rip him to pieces.
Damn.
By the way, this movie's rated R.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So after that flash of red and blue light that was caused by the reactor, Otto is carried away on a bed or a table of some kind to be put into some sort of medical care within Oscorp. He eventually wakes up, and we notice that for the first time since this all started, it's peaceful. No nightmares. Wakes up calmly, slowly, takes in his surroundings, then remembers the experience as he notices he is behind a containment wall, a clear-walled, blast-resistant cell. His eyes dart to one corner, and a tentacle instinctually shoots out to bash against the wall blindly. He jumps back in surprise, and the other three react, wildly thrashing about, which only scares him more. He follows the tentacles with his eyes till he touches the center of his back, finding all four have been fused to his spine and nervous system. They are not responding to commands, but to his instincts. And right now he is scared. I will explain this a little bit more in detail. The arms do not listen to his commands. He doesn't think, arm go there, and then they move. At least not like we're used to seeing them portrayed. They are extensions of himself like arms or legs. You don't tell your arms and legs to move, they just do. It's so natural and second nature that you don't even think about it, so he doesn't even command them. They react to what he perceives as dangerous and react accordingly. It's like when you touch a hot stove, your body doesn't even think to react. It just flinches away really fast out of pain. It's his fight or flight instinct personified through these four extra arms.
What's funny now is that you talk about how your brain just moves your arms and legs and everything without thinking. Now I'm very much thinking about like how my arms and legs are moving.
Yeah. Like I just propped my legs out to like kind of like in a reclined position. I'm like, it wasn't
Suddenly
even
very
us all
self-aware.
aware of our limbs. So that's fun.
He continues to panic and cause commotion until a few speakers scattered across the room begin to play a classical song. Otto looks confused, but to his surprise, the arms start to slowly fall to the ground.
What's happening to me?
Baby, were you out last night?
I had to try. I needed to see if I could make it work. I knew I could make it work. I just needed to. Where am I? Are we at home? Am I...
You're still at Oscorp. It's the next morning. You took on too much strain. The reason for those arms is so that two people can share the load. Put it all on yourself and it backfired.
Did it work?
What?
The collider, did it work?
Yes, but you shouldn't be worried about that right now. Otto, there's something seriously wrong with...
Otto is tremendously excited at this revelation.
I did it. I did it. I was the only one willing to do what was necessary, but I did it. Me.
What are you talking about? You have a whole team here who...
No, I don't. They're idiots. They're imbeciles. They don't understand what I can do. I can do this on my own. I'm the only one who can make it perfect.
No. You have people here who are willing to help you, who can help you make it, who can help you succeed, who can help you do this right. We all wanted to see this succeed.
Otto raises his voice again, causing the two tentacles to slam into the ground.
I needed to show them that I could do it. That it was me. That my genius is what made this happen.
What about me? I've been involved in this project the entire time. Some of us were involved before you were in charge. Don't they share in any of this?
Otto scoffs.
As if. Dr. Fester wouldn't know good practice if it bit him in the face. Strom has been against me from the moment I took this position, and you wanted me to stop the moment I started. From the moment I received this promotion, you've been scared to let me succeed. You have not wanted me to be in charge. You doubted me, and now I've proven you all wrong.
Anna Maria seems more than a little hurt by this. This hurt turns to anger as she leaves. The music goes with her. Otto doesn't care. The knowledge of the project has succeeded and that the collider is finally working has filled Otto with a pride beyond measure and has only inflated his ego further. This entire process has made him egotistical. It's looped back into his perfectionism, and now that he knows that he has the ability to back up his genius, he feels vindicated in his actions. However, Anna Maria is followed by Mendel Strom a short while later. who is gloating that now he's been put in charge of the division, and he will stay in that cage, Otto will, until they can determine how to safely remove the arms from him. His meltdown and breaking of almost every safety regulation has proven everything that Strom was saying. Otto kind of waves him off because he perceives Strom to be a traitor and a charlatan, because clearly he can't see that Otto was right all along. However, Strom taking over in his stead throws Otto into a rage. With this outburst, Strom smirks and strolls upstairs. The tipping point, however, is when Norman begins to speak over the loudspeakers across Oscorp, stating that a late-night collider test by Professor Strom was proven successful as the collider is now fully operational. However, one of their employees, quote, a data technician known as Otto Octavius, has been removed from their employment for breaking several serious safety guidelines in the process. Otto is dumbstruck. He was basically given permission to do whatever is necessary to get this done, and he was given a timetable to get it done by. If he didn't do anything, then it would have all been for nothing. Otto starts scrambling, trying to think of why this would have backfired on him until he realizes it. He has been a pawn in Norman's game this entire time. Norman was willing to let someone break all the rules in order to get it working so that he could effectively throw them under the bus the moment that they succeeded. You get a close-up shot of Otto as he looks down, only see his hair, and as this realization hits him, you start to hear a shrill violin. He looks up, clenches his fists, slowly rises into the air with the aid of two of the tentacles, and as one shoots toward the screen and we hear glass shatter, we cut to black. End of Act 2.
I like it. I like it, but so I think that obviously in a full movie, this is just a scriptment, but I think in a full movie, what would be interesting is to have further scenes between Norman and Otto. I mean, the audience that reads comic books can already understand that Norman is probably no good. And similarly, the audience that has seen a Spider-Man movie in the past, like, couple years can go, okay, Norman's probably a piece of shit. I think having more scenes in which we see Norman and Otto talk or chat, and then when he starts to have this revelation, kind of in a movie setting, having a sort of background montage or having a sort of almost like, we see his head in the middle shot as he's looking down, and then we might see, like, in the corner of one thing, it might be Norman saying, like, listen, you can break the rules. You can bend stuff if you want to. Or, like, I'm not saying you should do this, but if I was in this situation, maybe this would be what I would do. And, like, all this sort of stuff as he quickly realizes, like, this is, he's been a pawn. He's been played. I also think that there could be an interesting parallel with with Norman and Otto's father, in a sense, in the way that, like, Norman says something very similar to Otto's father of, you need to take charge, or you need to do what needs to be necessary. And I think that, like, if during this moment, if there was something kind of in a montage way or in sort of background things, having both Norman say what he says and Otto's father in that flashback saying what he says, and they kind of overlap, and they're both very similar in what they're saying.
Having the overlap of the dream where he says, "No son of mine's going to be pushed around."
Yeah,
stepped on and thrown aside.
I also see something similar where there's, like, while they're having a conversation, there's flash of lightning, and there's just a very quick crossfade of Norman with Otto's father.
Having a storm outside in outside of the dream being loud enough that you can still hear heavy rain and lightning.
Yeah.
Kind of calling back to it. Even if we don't see flashbacks to the dream, we hear the rain and we're like, he's thinking it.
Something I also really enjoy is the fact that Anna Maria just cares so much about Otto, like, loves him unconditionally, and, like, I mean, her sort of one wish or request is, like, listen, dude, please, with love of God, just go to therapy, which is valid. Very valid.
And she's willing to like go with him and be
Yeah.
support for him, and they try to meet up regularly, but her good nature is being misconstrued as like doubt
Mhm.
in him, and he is not having it. And at this point he's when she leaves, he is like, whatever.
I pray that you do not kill Anna Maria, because it would be nice to have her in a future movie.
Well, we'll see.
I would like to say that I think using the full Dance Macabre for this movie,
Mm.
slightly altered, could be a phenomenal theme for this film.
Yeah.
I have had I've wanted like trill sounding classical pieces to basically was my inspiration for this entire film as an outset. I just this somebody who takes solace in calming orchestral pieces, and his descent into madness and obsession being portrayed as those classical pieces turning more devilish.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, are we ready to move into Act 3?
Absolutely, I've got Dance
Hello.
Macabre playing in my brain.
Our Act 3 is going to be just briefly discussed, however, much of it is action, so it's fairly simple to explain. Otto is breaking out of what he now knows is a prison, and he is slaughtering everyone in his path. Up to this point, this movie has attempted to be a psychological thriller, watching the downfall of this man as his turn to insanity and obsession. But now it is a straight slasher, filmed to the brim with gore and dismemberment. Dr. Octopus will rip into each and every person he finds until he reaches Norman Osborn. It sequences very much akin to the surgery scene from Spider-Man 2, where doctors are running and screaming down dark, sterile hallways, red flashing warning lights, only to be everywhere, only to be thrown against the wall and pulled away around a corner, screaming and clawing until their blood splatters across the wall. Imagine if a slasher villain had a genius mind and 4 infinitely opposable limbs to kill with. Possibility for crazy kills is infinite. He eventually, in the chaos, discovers Norton Fester, the newest scientist in his division. He again accuses Fester of deliberately sabotaging his work, which Fester continuously denies, all while begging for his life. This amuses Otto for a bit, but he eventually gets bored and grabs each of his limbs with a tentacle, lifting him into the air. He lets Fester plead with him once or twice more, and then ties his body into an endless series of knots.
Jeez. Jarrett? Like, dislocates his limbs and breaks his bones and, like, contortion.
Like I said, this is a murderous serial killer who has 4 infinitely opposable limbs at his disposal to rip and tear and contort and dismember with. Dr. Octopus is a horror villain.
Yeah. I could see it.
He continues his way through the numerous labs until he finds Mendel Strom. Strom is older, and Otto easily pins him to a wall with one open tentacle. Imagine your open palm against a flat wall. Strom, again, even in the face of this insane man, can't help but insist that he knew Otto wasn't fit for this.
Well, on the bright side, you won't have to think about it for very much longer.
We watch a pulse leave Otto's back and slowly travel down the open, slithery tentacle and reach its, quote, fingers, as they slowly curl and ball up into a fist. We hear bones crack and break while Mendel screams and is eventually severed into 5 equal pieces. They flop to the floor as the man sort of gasps like a fish without water, struggling to breathe.
Ugh.
Otto sneers and says a final word before turning away.
Filth.
That was gross. But, Mendel Strom is the robot master or whatever. The comics.
Yeah, I thought I'd just take 2 like D-list. Also, Norton Fester is a scientist turned robber called the Looter. I just decided I would take 2 like D-list Spider-Man villains and just cannon fodder them.
That's fair. It's respectable.
But even then, like, what you did to at least Mendel could lead to Mendel being built again in a future story, but yeah.
Mendelstrom's
Gross.
remains are no longer gasping for air. His eyes are vacant, staring straight ahead at the camera. We watch as a long cable slithers out of an open doorway in his department, Consciousness Replication Division at Oscorp. We pull back as it slowly finds Strom's head and chest, wraps around it gingerly, and pulls him into an open doorway, quietly shutting the door behind it.
Oh my god.
Peyton, you
not
should
read
have just been patient.
I should have been patient.
This was initially one of my mid-credit scenes where we would cut back to his remains. Imagine if you gripped a ball of Play-Doh until it fell apart.
Mm.
But it also sounds like bones are snapping in there somewhere.
It reminds me of in the ending of Portal, when Chell breaks out of the facility and she's laying in the parking lot of Aperture Science, and then like a cable just grabs her and just drags her back into the science, like the laboratories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. That's what I'm seeing in my mind, though. That's not what you described.
We cut to Anna Maria as she runs through empty corridor after empty corridor, hearing distant screams from who knows who echoing through the complex. She eventually makes her way to the first floor, which is far more open than the others. Before she can make it, we watch a tentacle curl up into the air like a snake and strike her in the back. She falls to the floor, unconscious, but not dead. Otto glides over to her, at first ready to crush her flat under an open tentacle. But he can't do it. He still loves her despite her supposed betrayal in his eyes. Instead, the arm that just struck her slinks to the floor like a scorned puppy, gingerly wrapping her up and bringing her to meet his gaze. He studies her as we begin to hear Shostakovich, Waltz No. 2, playing. We pan across to see Otto's perspective. Perhaps we do like a turning shot, and as a tentacle passes, we fade to what Otto is seeing. They are standing in the center of a massive cathedral in the middle of a ball, brightly lit. Anna Maria is wearing a gorgeous blue dress. They laugh and begin to dance around. We pan back to the real world, where armed guards and police have stormed the first floor of Oscorp, only to be easily ignored and killed one at a time. Otto is waltzing with his unconscious girlfriend, while he absent-mindedly murders a squad of police.
Is this the frickin' dance scene?
This is our obligatory
It's
dance sequence.
The required dance scene. It's the required dance scene, baby.
So we get an image that looks straight out of Beauty and the Beast, where Otto is dancing with a just beautiful woman in a gorgeously brightly lit ballroom. And then we cut back and we watch cops yelling like, "Open fire!" and they're shooting at him. And the tentacles are blocking bullets and crushing people against walls, flattening them like bugs, throwing them around. You hear bone snapping, screams, and then we fade back and he's still waltzing and they're both smiling and we're all happy. This continues until the entire squad is nothing but corpses. He continues to dance silently to himself until...
Hey lady, is this guy bothering you?
And Maria is whisked away by a flash of red and blue. Otto looks perplexed and stumbles backwards, frantic.
Oh, what was that? Show yourself.
Blur drops Anna Maria off to one side, coming into view. It's Spider-Man.
I said to buzz off, fatso.
Otto angrily throws a tentacle forward towards Spider-Man, who catches it, but can't quite hold it in place, being knocked off to one side.
You pack a wallop, lard ball. What, did the lady steal your lunch money or something?
Silence, insect. You're nothing to me. You're a dust speck compared to what's at stake here.
Well, since this is probably gonna take a while, I'll just introduce myself now. Hi, I'm Spider-Man.
They fight. I'll keep it brief here, but suffice to say Spidey is swift and strong, but holding back a ton because he knows this is just a guy. However, Otto is holding nothing back, and it shows in this damage Spidey is taking. There is one thing here that gives Spidey enough of an edge to win. Otto is scared. He is having more and more flashes to his dreams. The red and blue of Spidey's suit is making him relive this trauma over again in real time.
Oh my word.
Kind of smart. That is pretty smart.
It's here where we see what really happened that night. We cut back and watch Otto's father storm into his room, makes Otto stand up out of bed, and beats him. He continues to beat him until he eventually leaves, leaving behind a curled up, crying boy. And as this fight in the present goes on, that's all that remains of Otto now as well. A crying boy who is faced with what he's done or failed to do and can do nothing but curl up into a ball on the floor and sob to himself.
Please don't hit me again.
Spider-Man awkwardly backs off, confused and a little taken aback by this clearly mentally damaged man. Can't bring himself to even stand up or stop sobbing. This is the first time Spidey has dealt with something like this. He's normally dealt with bank robbers or the occasional mugger who yell a bit before being webbed to a wall and left behind. He's never had to deal with crying. He doesn't know how to react, so he waits until he hears more sirens and then quietly swings away. We cut to see Otto finally awaken in another cell. He pushes himself awake and tries to move, but can't. He turns to see that his arms have been forcibly extended out to their max limit, the hands encased in a metal slab. He slowly examines it. Adamantium. Nothing is breaking through that. He turns away, becoming angry by the second. He thrashes back and forth against the tentacles, now doubling as his chains in this prison, as we zoom out from his window to the open ocean on the raft. His angry yelling turns to violent screams as he keeps repeating the name.
Spider-Man! Spider-Man! Spider-Man!
The screams echo out into the void, fading as they are replaced by Octopus's Garden by the Beatles, as the credits roll.
Genius.
And that's the end before we get to the credits scenes. What do we think?
I like it.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan. I think with the inclusion of Spider-Man here, because this is the first time, for audiences at least,
that we are seeing Spider-Man. This episode has something to do with Spider-Man.
This
I think.
Something to do with Spider-Man, we think.
We know.
We know now. How old is our Spidey here?
This takes place between Morbius and Venom 2. Venom 2 came out after Morbius, right?
No. It
came out before. Okay, so it definitively takes place after Morbius, but before whatever comes after Morbius. Madam Web takes place in 2003. So Craven, Venom 3.
Venom 3.
But Venom 3 was originally supposed to come out after, so does it chronologically take place after? No, it takes place right after No Way Home, I think, because he's still in the same outfit from the bar scene. I don't know. I don't know. We cannot get into it.
All I'm saying is that, let's say for the sake of argument, Spidey is 16. He's been bitten by the spider. He's 16 years old. This is probably his first rogue.
Yeah, I would say most likely this is his first supervillain, because, like I said, up to this point, he's dealt with robbers, muggers, occasional like bike thief. This is his first supervillain, and the fight ends with this overweight man crumpling quietly to the floor and crying over his trauma.
And Spidey's probably just like, what the fuck?
Spidey's just like, what? This is not this isn't what I thought this was going to be or how this was supposed to end. I don't know what to do about this.
If he's 16 years old, then this takes place in 2019, so it would take place after Venom 2. Roughly. That, in my opinion, because I think that Venom 2 takes place maybe a year after Venom.
Also, I think Morbius does also take place in 2019, but it was delayed a lot because of like COVID and stuff. But chronologically, it apparently takes place in 2019.
Okay.
Are we ready to get into the mid-credit scene?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're following Norman Osborn as he wanders through the remains of Oscorp. Already the labs are in various stages of repair. He is followed by a secretary.
How is Strom coming along?
The living brain created a direct copy of his consciousness as he predicted, sir.
Good. That's another thing to hold in my back pocket for later. And was the other living specimen damaged?
They begin to head deeper into the hallways. There are still men in hazmat suits cleaning blood and viscera off the walls. No, sir, all remaining vital signs are normal. Seems even Otto didn't know this place existed.
Good. We need him most of all.
We watch him scan his handprint to open a secret door within the wall of the hallway itself, revealing the remains of Carlton Drake.
What?
Yo.
Still alive, but barely. He is strapped to a table with several IVs in various blood vessels all over his body, some pumping him with blood, while others are pulling out some sort of gray fluid. It appears to be moving on its own. Carlton's wild eyes lock with Norman's, whose eyes remain colder than ever.
Hush now, Drake. You always were one to help usher in the future. Don't quit on us now.
Carlton thrashes under his restraint, screaming through the strap, gagging his open mouth as we pull back and the lab door shuts.
Dope. No other words from me. That's just dope.
So the reveal here is that Venom survived the explosion of the spaceship in the first Venom movie. Why not Carlton Drake and thereby Riot?
Fair enough.
That was the one that you guys knew a piece of, but I'd kind of rearranged because of the way Venom 3 might be going down. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I still like where this might potentially lead.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Post-credit scene. We cut to the streets of Brooklyn as the shadow of a bird moves across the sky carrying something in its claws. The camera picks up and begins to follow it, and the closer we get, we notice the sounds of fans and engines humming. Camera following this bird becomes a POV shot as the large, loud bird swoops and dives through the alleys before landing in a secluded area in front of a small warehouse. When it lands, we discover it's no bird at all, but the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. He drops the crate he's carrying and unloads it, picking up a medical bag with a host of syringes, along with a blood bag. It is filled with green fluid. He is followed close behind by a wisp of greenish-blue smoke that lands beside him. It's Michael Morbius, played by Jared Leto. Vulture tosses the mag to Morbius, who tears it open from one side and slurps the bag dry.
No, it's not that I'm not grateful for you, Doc. Oh?
Morbius licks the last few drops from the bag. Vulture raises his wrist in the air, a jury-rigged Fitbit with several added gizmos and pieces of equipment attached.
You keep this old bird grounded, but when I said we should do some good, I meant we should go find Spider-Man. I know. But look, he's not bothering us. So I don't think he's that bad. At least not here. Maybe he is wherever you're from. But right now, let's do some good. Just like you said.
He opens the warehouse door to see a man lying down in the dirt, clutching his wife's hand. His body is becoming stony, a brick-like structure with a toughness to match.
The wall?
The wall!
He's clearly in pain. They look up at Morbius.
Good evening. My name is Michael Morbius. I'm a doctor.
Cut to black. End.
Phenomenal.
Wonderful job.
No notes.
No notes. Yeah, it's just really solid. All in all, a really solid pitch.
So what we're establishing in this post-credit scene is that Vulture and Morbius are going around. Morbius seemingly has a new formula of blood. It's not the same color. And Vulture is helping him kind of steal medical supplies, seemingly, and other sorts of various devices and supplies in order to find people in need with strange illnesses or ailments and see if he can cure them and lead them back on to a normal life. And that was Otto.
Great job.
I agree that the weakest link in my mind is Act 2. Getting the build up from we have our establishing like situation. and how we get the rising action and he becomes more obsessed and freaking out to the point that Norman actually recommends that he's like, hey, why don't you just break safety protocols and just get it done? Leading into the betrayal. There's not enough scenes to establish the setup for the rug.
Norman does need to have much more of a presence in the bulk of the movie, I think.
Mm-hmm. A second draft would probably further establish them as having more of a back and forth. Because at one point, Otto just runs up to his office and basically rats out Strom and is like, "Get him out of here! He's annoying me." And Norman is kind of pissed at him, but doesn't really say much. And then he's finally like, "He's been moved. Leave." So they clearly, in the time of a lot of these montages of time moving forward, they have a bit more of a rapport, or they've talked more often. But we don't see that. But I'm wondering how I would make those scenes interesting.
Now, the question is, do we put Glenn Howerton in? Do we give Glenn Howerton the Norman way?
Do we give Glenn Howerton cornrows?
Yeah. No, I think he has.
No, he's got cornrows, dude.
I don't know how else you would describe that hairstyle.
I could have sworn it's just waves, like he has a wave cap. That's not cornrows. Cornrows look totally different.
I feel like it has to be somewhere in between his look in Blackberry and his look in It's Always Sunny. So it's like he's got the slicked back sides, but the tops there still needs to be something on top.
Right. When I go get a haircut, I'm just gonna show them a picture of Norman Osborn, and I'll go, "I want this." And
what would you call this?
They'll give me the haircut, and I'll come back and I'll say, "Okay, it's this. it's not."
Give me the Norman.
I need the Osborn cut.
I need the Osborn flow.
I think the idea of Glenn Howerton having like the Norman hair would be hilarious. Though I agree with you. I can't stop laughing. I can't stop picturing.
So Jarrett, any final words about this pitch?
I'm really happy with it, honestly. There's a couple things I would tweak now, and a lot of it was down to the wire and getting it put to paper, but overall I'm really digging it. This full read through with you guys is probably the first one I've done from beginning to end since completing it. And by and large, I'm really liking it. I really like how this turned out. It's 21 pages, or closer to 20, which is I'm pretty satisfied. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of scenes that I would use to extend that out much further. I think a large chunk of the runtime that we might have kind of skimmed over would be scenes of montages, science, testing, failed testing, increased just anger and agitation. The impetus for this entire pitch was the scene in Spider-Man 2 and being like, but that's like just the tip of the iceberg of the horror show, right? And also, very important, we do not establish what happens to Anna Maria, but she is definitely alive.
Okay, good.
I left it ambiguous on purpose, but I do make it clear that she is unconscious. We don't know what happens to her. She just kind of leaves. Does she still work for Norman? I doubt it.
That's just what I was about to say.
I got a feeling after this, she's like, I need a break. But where does she go? Time will tell.
Excited. I'm really intrigued to see what you continue to do with Doc Ock, and maybe eventually what like Noah might do with Doc Ock, or what I could do with Doc Ock in the future. I think that you've introduced a character here. Like this is an Otto that's different from other ones that I've seen. In the PS4 one, he's more of this sort of like whiny nerdy guy that then kind of like goes evil, and then in like Spider-Man 2, he's pretty like well adjusted, and he's kind hearted, and it's the technology that makes him all bad.
Mhm.
And then like, you know, in the comics he's just a maniacal being that's kind of like, I'm inclined to say that Doc Ock is Spidey's Doctor Doom in the sense of personality.
Mhm.
Like when I think Doc Ock, I'm like, oh, he could probably have a beer with Doctor Doom and like they would get along. I think that this Doc Ock that you've introduced here is a more psychotic one that is different from all these others in a really interesting way. He's a traumatized, semi-psychotic, broken man, and I'm intrigued to see how a psychotic, broken man in a world in which it's been set up that it's a lot of Spider-Man villains and not a lot of Spider-Man. In a world like that, how can a man like that eventually turn or improve or change, either for the better or for the worse? And I mean, he's at his lowest. The only way he can go is up from here. So I'm really intrigued to see what we're going to do with this guy. And with these other characters, such as Strom and Anna Maria and Norman, obviously.
I'm
Very
excited
cool.
I'm excited to continue with this. So where do we go from here, folks? Next episode, you will be hearing from Peyton's pitch, which is Mr. and Mrs. Parker. Sort of a from the title, we can kind of guess that it's kind of like a spy thriller, I think. It sounds super interesting. Totally haven't already recorded it,
No, we haven't. We have no idea what's going on in that story.
but we're excited for you guys to
Mrs.
listen to
Parker,
it, and we're excited to hear it
I don't know
because
who those characters are.
I have no
but
clue what might be happening.
Yeah. I don't even know. I haven't even written it yet. I mean,
Are
like,
they very good at parking cars?
yeah,
Perhaps they are Parkers
ones.
after all.
tune in 2 weeks from now to learn what that is. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good night.
Be sure to follow us and give us good reviews. We love to see it. We love to get you guys' feedback and your support. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
And special thanks to Dylan Roth for making our intro music.
Intro and outro music, which you are
And
hearing
outro.
right now. Thank you guys so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.